What up, everybody? It's your man, MrMelvinnTV, coming back with another one. Just want to make a quick video saying that how men suffer in silence. They have to suffer in silence, man. You know, the minute you try to... Okay, let me back up a little bit. Men suffer in silence, man, and people in society don't seem to care. Because when you've been met with this notion that, you know, you're supposed to be a man. You're supposed to man up. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps, all that nonsense, right? So as a man, for some reason, you're not allowed to act out. You're not allowed to voice your opinion today in the 21st century. Because if you do, you'll be considered sassy, or you be considered as being toxic masculinity, all this other nonsense, right? So men have always been bombarded by the world, and you have to go out into the world and face the world and come home and try to provide and protect and all that stuff, right? Then sometimes you come home and you want to tell your woman, your wife, or whomever, what's going on with you and what you're going through. They make your life hard somehow, which is weird. Or they'll take the information you just gave them that you probably been keeping to yourself for years, and you just confided in them and gave them this information, and later on in the argument or something, they'll use it against you. Well, you know, that's why when you was 5, blah, blah, blah. Wow, I told you that in confidence, not to use it against me as a weapon later. And that's one of the main reasons why men don't open up. And this is one of the main reasons why men just suffer in silence, because most guys don't want to open up and give people information because it may be used against them later. So you can always say, like, okay, well, maybe you hang around the wrong people. Would be the case. Yeah, I give you that. But if people around in their circle, that's all the people that they know and the people that's in their circle, and they try to confide in them, it just backfires on them. Make men not want to open up, then they have to suffer in silence. You know, this one's going to be a pretty long video. It's not going to be a short one. Example, man. Suffering in silence. And sometimes that suffering in silence could lead to guys unaliving themselves. This guy I used to work with in Vegas, man, Las Vegas. I used to be nightclub security at 4 nightclubs in Las Vegas. And this guy I used to work with, we kind of like clicked right away because he's from Louisiana, I was from Louisiana. And he was from this place called Homer. Not Homa, that's down there by New Orleans. Homer is at the top by Monroe and stuff like that, Monroe, Louisiana. And we clicked, man. We got along well. We were both Virgos. We were both from Louisiana. So we both was cool with each other, but we just never knew he was suffering in silence. I mean, you know, he suffered in silence, and we just never knew it. We rephrased that. And make a long story short, I'm not going to mention his name. And the people that work nightclub security with me that's on my social media, you already know who I'm talking about. One night we came to work, he's like, what's such and such? You know, I'm sitting there looking for him, he's not there. Then, you know, we went on work the shift, you know, crazy crowd, whatever, celebrities and stuff. And the next day, I just got home because we went and hung out after work. And I just laid down, man, and one of my boys called me. He said, hey, man, you hear about such and such? I said, I mean, it was an accident or something? They're like, no, man, he unalived himself. And I was like, what? I said, no, man, quit playing, dude. That dude ain't did that. You know, he was just too cool. It's just like you never saw it. There was like no signs. He never looked depressed. He never looked like he was spacing out or nothing like that, or crashing out on people. You never could see it. And that was crazy because what he did, he left a letter before he unalived himself, thanking everybody that he worked with. He thanked the director of security and a couple other people for hiring him, and mentioned a lot of us by name, you know, thanks for being my friend and all that. And the reason why he unalived himself is because he missed his wife. What's crazy is she had unalived herself years prior. So he was missing her and wanted to be with her. And I was kind of mad at him. I'm not gonna lie, dude, because he had a 9-year-old son at the time. Like, dude, I mean, you know his mom did unalive herself. Why would you turn around and do the same thing and leave him by himself? But you know, but you just never know. Men just suffer in silence, man, which is crazy. And you, like I said, we want to open up to people, but you can't, because everybody want to judge and talk shit and then use it against you later as a weapon, which is crazy. I got another story for you guys. Another guy, man. Now, he didn't unalive himself, but he got unalived, you know, by the police. And this is what happened. I ain't gonna call his name either. This is when I was in California. And then this cat, man, we didn't hang out every day, but I used to see him here and there at the different clubs we would go to. Then we would go to this Blues Fest every year in Monterey Bay, California. Very nice area. We would always stay at the Hyatt Hotel at Pebble Beach, where they play golf and shit at. And this guy would always come hang out with us and party. You know, I done went off with him and had episodes together and, you know, chasing girls and all that shit. And, you know, just kicking, having fun, having drinks and all that. And make a long story short, one of my homies that called me that we used to go hang out with in, all the times we was in California. He said, man, you hear about such and such? I said, what happened to him? What's going on with him? They said, man, this cat, you know, can I give you the story? He worked at this rock quarry in San Jose, California. So apparently, they was messing with him on the job. Like trying to take his job, cut his hours, all that. So I guess that day, that was the last straw for him, because he was the only brother in there. You know, a bunch of Hispanic cats. That ain't me trying to be racist, but it is what it is. He was the only brother in there, a bunch of Hispanic guys, so they was trying to pretty much screw him out of his job. And that day was in that meeting. I guess that's all he needed. You know, went back to his truck, got an AK, not an AR. He went and got an AK. Got an AK, came back in that place, and got to mowing people down, man. Which is crazy. I hung out with this cat all the time. What did it say? You just never know. This guy was suffering in silence. He never talked about that job one time. We never heard about it. We never heard about nobody giving him a hard time on the job. He just kept it to himself. He could have opened up and talked to us, but he chose not to. Don't know what his reasoning is, to tell you the truth, but it kind of stems back to where guys just can't open up because we're going to be prejudged. So a lot of men don't want to prejudge. Society gives this thing about men like we're supposed to have all this shit figured out. No, that's not the case. Especially if you got this skin. No, it's even more pressure on you. You know, it's just men just suffering in silence, man. It's not cool. And you know what, to tell you the truth, it ain't a black thing. I done met white guys that suffer in silence. I done met Asian dudes that suffer in silence. Not a whole lot more Asians, but a lot more definitely white and black and Hispanic men who suffer in silence because they can't speak out. You can't speak out. Oh, go see a counselor. What the hell am I going to go see a counselor for? This is silly. Well, I guess it's better than nothing. Pooch, you knocking my camera around, man. Trying to be serious. Anyway, yeah, guys, men just have to suffer in silence, and it's just so sad. And those two examples I gave you are perfect examples of guys. One guy unalived himself, never knew anything was wrong. He never talked about it. You can see it in his body language. Nothing. One day, that's it. Other guy in California, he never talked about that job, and just nothing, and all of a sudden he snapped, crashed out, as they say today, and went unalived a bunch of people. Was on the run, went to this area called Sunnyvale. He wanted to get rid of the truck he was in, so he went and carjacked a lady, popped her in the leg, took her car, and this is on the news. If y'all don't believe it, just go look it up, man. I guess it would help if I gave the name, but it's there. And I told my boy, I said, dude, they're gonna kill him, man. You know how the police in California are. They are not. He did all that. He done laid all them people down at that quarry, and he done shot this white lady too in Sunnyvale. Oh yeah. And then they did. You know, they didn't give him a chance. I guess he tried to lay on the ground. They didn't give him time to get down there fast enough. You know, so you just never know, man. Men have to suffer in silence, man, and it's some sad shit. You can't open up to your lady most of the time, because sometimes they'll use the shit against you as a weapon, especially if her head not in the right place. And that's not me saying you can't open up to no woman, because that's not true. A lot of women will understand and they'll have your back, and they'll be able to give you some good advice. But suffering in silence for men, that's just tough, man. Anyway, it's your man, MrMelvinnTV, coming back to you with another one. Don't forget to hit that like, share, subscribe if you hung around this long to hear the rest. All right, I'll holler back.